This is Optimal Living Daily, episode 712, How to Love Your Authentic Self by Deschene of tinybuddha.com, and I'm Justin Malik, your very own personal narrator. Welcome to the podcast where blogs are read to you so that you can take a break from staring at a screen. Today's post comes from the creator of tinybuddha.com. She has an online course called Recreate Your Life Story that's worth checking out. You can go to recreateyourlifestory.com to learn about that. Before we get to her post, thank you to FreshBooks for sponsoring this episode. FreshBooks is the company I recommend and I use for invoicing, time tracking, expense tracking, and more. Come check them out totally free for a month and without entering any kind of payment info by visiting freshbooks.com/living. For now, let's get right to our post and continue optimizing your life. How to Love Your Authentic Self by Deschene of tinybuddha.com. Quote, "You, yourself, as much as anybody else in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection." Buddha. In our personal development focused, life coach dependent world, it's all too easy to think you need to change, not just the things you do, but who you are. It's one thing to invite transformation for the sake of growth, improvement, and new possibilities. It's another thing to feel so dissatisfied with yourself that no amount of change could possibly convince you that you're worthy and lovable. This type of intrinsic self-loathing formed the basis of my adolescence and some of my 20s. It was like I was constantly trying to gut myself so I could replace myself with someone better. Ironically, I won a karaoke contest in the early 90s for singing The Greatest Love of All, yet I hadn't learned to love myself. I didn't know the greatest love of all, or any love really, being about as closed off as a scab. On most days, I kept a running mental tally of all the ways I messed up, all the dumb things I said, the stupid ideas I suggested, and the inevitably unsuccessful attempts I made to make people like me. How could they when I wasn't willing to lead the way? I tell you this not as an after picture who can't even remember that girl from before, but as someone who has lived this past decade, taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. For my willingness to give you this honesty, I'm proud. People are more apt to share their struggles once they feel like they're on the other side. It's a lot less scary to say, this is who I used to be, than this is what I struggle with sometimes. But this is my truth, and I give it to you wholeheartedly and uncensored. On a primal level, I really want to be loved and accepted, but I learn a little more every day that my own self-respect is the foundation of lasting joy. I know that I am not so different from most people. Who doesn't want to feel that people understand them, get them, and at the end of it all, love them anyway? I think we all want to believe it's perfectly okay, and maybe even wonderful, to be exactly who we are. Of course, that has to start with us. People can only love us if we believe we're lovable. You may not fully believe it if you constantly compensate for who you are with apologies, hedging words, or clarifications for your actions, like you always owe other people explanations. Beat yourself up when you make even the slightest mistake. Think about your flaws and feel overwhelming disgust or anger. Cling to people who see the best in you and find it hard to maintain those positive feelings when they walk away. Tell yourself that you're being selfish whenever you consider meeting your own needs. Repeatedly do self-destructive things or make choices that show you don't respect or value yourself. Don't consider your needs a priority. Always find a reason to talk yourself out of your dreams as if perhaps you don't deserve to have them. I have done every last one of these things at some point. I suspect we all have. Sometimes it's challenging to love ourselves, particularly in a world where change generates a substantial amount of revenue. There are always going to be products and ideas for us to get better, and it's a beautiful thing to embrace lifelong growth. Life is transformation. Staying static is a kind of death. But it's important that we all realize we are beautiful and wonderful just as we are, light and dark, in our complete authentic selves. Number 1, know that you are not your worst mistakes. Our past actions shape today, but we are not what we've been. We don't need to carry around labels or mistakes from yesterday as if they define us. Whatever you've done, it's over. It doesn't have to brand you, particularly not if you're making the conscious choice to do things differently now. We can judge ourselves by the weakest moments or the strongest. That's our choice. Choose to focus on the strongest and then leverage that pride for more of those moments. Every time you feel good about what you do, it's one more reminder to love who you are. Number 2, know that you have nothing to prove. I don't care how esteemed or successful someone is, there are things they're proud of and things they're ashamed of, and inside they wish people would see more of the former and less of the latter. We all want validation. It's an intrinsic human need to feel connected to other people. And oftentimes when we feel alone, it's because we believe we haven't proven how good we are or can be. You don't have to show the world you're good. You don't have to try to hide the things you've done that might not seem flattering. You just need to forgive and accept yourself and trust that other people will as well. Being authentic means being vulnerable, letting people see all your different facets, trusting they won't judge you and knowing that if they do, that's completely on them. I don't know about you, but I'd rather be real with people and know the ones who accept me fully than pretend and then have to maintain the illusion that I am something I'm not. Number 3, know the dark is valuable. So you've made mistakes. Who hasn't? The beauty of having faltered is that you can help the world with your experiences. Because we err and hurt, we can empathize when other people are hurting. We can reach out of ourselves, forget our own pains, and hold other people up when they need it. Having strengths and weaknesses is intrinsically human. If I didn't have less flattering traits and stories, this site would likely not exist. When you realize your flaws can help the world and bring us closer together, suddenly they seem less like liabilities and more like assets. Number 4, know that you matter. When I was a child, an authority figure in my life told me, if I was your age, I wouldn't be your friend. I held on to this for years, that given the choice, most people wouldn't like me. As I got older, a lot of people appeared to feel uncomfortable around me, and for good reason. I was like a leech on them, desperately hoping they'd unsay that one horribly undermining comment someone else spoke years ago. I couldn't believe I mattered until someone said it to me. Well, now I know differently. I know I do matter, and that how my life matters is dependent on what I do from day to day. Know that you touch countless people's lives every day, even if someone isn't blogging or tweeting about it. Just like George Bailey in It's a Wonderful Life, you do kind things that have a ripple effect you can't possibly measure. Even if not everyone has recognized it, you make a positive difference in the world. Your positive self-regard may feel stronger at some times than others, but even the smallest seed of love is valuable because it can grow. Number 5, know that positive feelings and actions breed more. All these warm, fuzzy feelings mean very little if you sit alone, wishing you could experience the world differently. Once we accept that we're worthy of love and our dreams, the natural next step is to actually create those things, not what we think we should do, what we really want to do. Get out into the world, do that thing that scares and excites you. Recognize you're awesome for doing it, even if in just one small step. Give yourself permission to not be perfect, and instead, focus on progress. Love in action every day. Do something kind for you. Do something kind for others. Do something kind for the world. Acknowledge your weaknesses, work to improve them, but say loud and proud that they will not define you. If you start worrying about the future or dwelling on the past, remember you deserve to enjoy the present, but only you can make it happen. I haven't always done this. I've let a lot of memories slip away while I curled up in my head wishing I was someone better. But those moments have passed, and in this moment, I am happy with me. I may not know you, but I know I want that love for you too. I know you deserve it. This has been a little uncomfortable for me, to be honest. I've yet again split myself open, but this time I'm not trying to change what's inside. I'm just here telling you that I am flawed like we all are, and that's not only okay, but beautiful. Much love and light to you from someone ever learning what love really means. You just listened to the post titled How to Love Your Authentic Self by Deschene of tinybuddha.com. Such a good post. And thank you again to FreshBooks for their support. A challenge that I recommend trying is tracking your expenses every day for a month. See exactly how much you spend every single day, and you can do that easily with FreshBooks without getting frustrated with tools like Excel. FreshBooks is a cloud accounting company for small business owners and freelancers. It's the easiest to use system that I've ever seen for tracking expenses because you can use it on a computer or you can use their app, which makes it really easy to track your expenses on the go, and they connect, so it's much better than using a spreadsheet. They also have time tracking and invoicing, which is surprisingly easy to use. So try FreshBooks out, all of their features for free for a month with no commitment. You don't even have to enter in a credit card. Just come by freshbooks.com/living and enter Optimal Living Daily in the How'd You Hear About Us section. I'll leave it there for today. Thank you for being here. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.
Hey, this is Dan from the Optimal Finance Daily podcast, which is a lot like this show, except more focused on personal finance. Justin handpicks the best posts he can find from blogs and authors like Ramit Sethi, Mr. Money Mustache, and more, and I read them to you 5 days a week. So if you enjoy this podcast, come on over and subscribe to Optimal Finance Daily too. And together, we'll optimize your financial life.
You've been listening to Optimal Living Daily. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on each new episode, and head to oldpodcast.com. That's OLDpodcast.com for a free gift, as well as more actionable tips and resources to help you maximize your potential. Thanks for joining us, and remember, your optimal life awaits.